Dr. David Hawkins writes that your subconscious will never allow you to have anything that you don't believe you deserve. Dr. Hawkins is the guy who wrote Power versus Force and then Letting Go, and I believe some other books as well. In my experience and from my perspective, reading Letting Go is mandatory for anybody who's doing any sort of personal development, personal growth work. And remember that the ultimate purpose of personal development or self-help work is self-actualization. I'm not going to go down into that right now. I'm going to stick with what I said a second ago, the quote from Dr. Hawkins. But that does help to remember that this is really all about self-actualization. And along the way, we want to measure some of that progress by things that we acquire. Just depends on where you're at in your journey of self-actualization. Now, why do I bring up that quote from Dr. Hawkins? Our subconscious will never allow us to have anything that we don't believe we don't deserve, that we don't believe we deserve. I have met countless men, and the first time that I really became aware of this kind of man was when I looked in the mirror and recognized it in myself. And once I recognized this in myself, I was able to begin recognizing it in other men. Remember that for me, my roots of my personal development roots are in entrepreneurship, right? Making money, building a business. And that's what got me into personal development, is building skills that can help me make more money, become more successful. And then when I started working with men, initially it was within the context of entrepreneurship, them being business clients and me giving them marketing tactics, insights, frameworks, blueprints. And no matter how perfectly laid out the blueprint was, they just couldn't seem to succeed with it. I have seen this time and time again. I've got one client, this is in my business, in my normal business. So look at this. We're babysitting a friend here today. This is Jack, the cat. He just leaped up on me, keeping me company for a few days while I babysit. No. I've seen some clients I own a marketing agency in a boring real estate niche. This has nothing to do with this, but this is a great example. I have clients who have taken my blueprint, plug and play, step-by-step marketing systems, only consume a fraction of the training and content, because as the admin and owner of the website on the back end, I can see who has consumed how much of what content. I have seen clients take a part of my systems and my blueprints, implement them, and make six figures in their first year just from my marketing campaigns in their business. I have other clients who have consumed every piece of content I have in the membership area, studied all the training, re-watched big chunks of the training and the content, have taken action, but have zero success. And when they've taken action to implement, there's something that always failed to launch or to take off. Like, they implemented in the sense of getting things ready, landing pages, research, recording a video, but they didn't actually launch. And I've seen this so many times that it's just mind-boggling. The power of your self-identity at work. It's marvelous to behold, because for years, initially, I thought it was just my how-to information wasn't good enough. My marketing blueprints and playbooks weren't good enough. And so I spent years optimizing the ever-living crap out of them. And then I took a step back and asked, can't be the how-to stuff when I have successful clients only consuming a part of the content, only implementing a part of the system and making six figures. And then there's others who have watched the whole thing twice and can't get it going. It's not the how-to information. So that quote from Dr. Hawkins, our subconscious will never allow us to have anything that we believe we don't deserve, It is one of the most hard-hitting quotes in existence in the universe today, in my humble opinion. Because as somebody who has worked with or served over 2,200 entrepreneurs, I can tell you that fundamentally what it comes down to initially is self-identity, mindset, limiting beliefs, your subconscious, what you think you deserve. Because I've seen it time and time again. So as you go into the year 2025, I'm recording this at the end of 2024. You might be watching this, who knows when. But for those of you who are watching it around any time at the end of 2024, 2025, though this again applies evergreen at any time of the year. But if you're planning out your year, because a lot of us are, doing the normal planning out, what did I learn in 2024 in the past year? What am I going to do better and different and bolder in the new year? Take a look at where you have put in a lot of effort, put in time, energy, researching, setting up, learning, etc., but never quite launched, never quite got the result. Be honest with yourself. Was it really about how-to content? Was it really a lack of information? Or is it something deeper and more fundamental? Because if you're dealing with this, anywhere that you see the fingerprints of this in action this past year, I bet you it's a loop that you keep repeating. You're on a merry-go-round. Part of my job with what I do with men who are willing to listen is to short circuit that loop and get you to actually progress, to elevate, to get the results. This is why when I'm asked, what do you think is the most important thing that a man can focus on, that is sort of like the kingpin that's going to impact everything else, I always say self-identity. Because everything in your life as a man is downstream from your self-identity. You will never, ever be incongruent in your life with your true self-identity. The good news is that you can change your self-identity. The bad news is that most of it is very subconscious and you're not aware of it. So you have to become aware of it and work on it, okay? This is how people win the lottery, and then statistically, most of them go broker than they were before. How's that possible? If you were broke and made 50 million, you should be set for the rest of your life. But no, you managed to fritter it all away. This is how people join, fitness boot camp programs, get lean and then get fat again and yo-yo over and over and over again. The result of the result of having a lot of money was incongruent with their true self-identity. Their subconscious doesn't believe that they deserve to have that, so they lose it. The great physique is incongruent with their true self-identity. Their subconscious doesn't believe they deserve it, so they get fat again. Your subconscious will never allow you to have anything that you don't believe you deserve. This is why one of the core pillars of self-identity work is practicing congruence in your daily life. Because when you start to show up and behave in a congruent manner with who you say you want to be and where you say you want to go, your subconscious then begins to believe that you deserve it because you're actually respecting yourself. But without self-respect and without congruence, your subconscious is the first being to see how you truly behave, how you truly think, how you truly act. And then it's this weird loop where you self-punish yourself and don't allow yourself to succeed because you don't believe you deserve it. This is why you see some people, hardworking, disciplined, consistent guys, it's like the way they do everything, they make it 10 times harder because they believe they have to suffer in order to succeed. I'm one of those guys. To this day, it is still one of my biggest weaknesses or risks or threats that I always have to constantly look out for and ask myself, am I falling into the old trap of having to work really hard or suffer before this becomes successful, before I'm allowed to succeed? Do I truly believe that I'm just simply allowed to have success without slavery? Are you with me? Or are my roots, still with the children of Israel in Egypt, and I have to be a slave and I have to grind away in the proverbial salt mines of life before I'm allowed a modicum of success? And so I see a lot of men turn self-help and personal development into a smart slavery. It's a smart version of effecting the same limiting subconscious beliefs of, I don't deserve that level of success. So then we tell ourselves, oh, actually, I am working towards success. See all the discipline, the structure, and the habits that I have for my personal development and my self-help and my 19-step checklist that I do every day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when you look at their progress, no progress. And then what do people like that say when they self-rationalize? Oh, I just got to be consistent. It just takes time. It's just 3 feet away from gold. Look, at some point, you got to take a step back and ask yourself, how long can I be working on something consistently and disciplined and not see progress? Something isn't working. Something isn't firing right. I see this time and time again, and it seems like nobody wants to talk about it in self-help and personal development because it wouldn't sell a lot of courses or sell a lot of books or sell a lot of coaching, but it's there staring us in the face. I'm telling you, I used to do this, and I'm telling you, a lot of you guys do this. We take self-help and personal development stuff and we turn it into smart slavery, where we can look at it and rationalize saying, but I'm doing personal development, self-help, and I'm doing all the work. But what you really do is you created a whole checklist and things to do that keeps you on a merry-go-round loop of keeping you out of the promised land, just like the children of Israel had to circle in the desert for 40 years. And what does the Bible say? The old generation had to die, and when the new generation became of age, they could enter into the promised land. AKA, that's a metaphor for self-identity. The old self-identity had to die, and the new one had to become strong enough to take the life that they wanted. Slavery, Egypt, escape, but can't feel like you can actually get to the promised land without a lot of suffering and hard work. Circling the desert for 40 years, personal mental masturbation with personal development and self-help stuff without any actual clear way of working on your self-identity. But if you ever actually transform your self-identity, then you enter the promised land. By and large, for the most part, the men that I see successfully transform their self-identity do it by just sheer brute force and dumb luck. And what could have taken 1 year or 6 months or 3 years takes 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. So ask yourself, are you consistently winning and creating progress and accomplishing? And when I'm saying accomplishing, winning, and creating progress, based on what you want. I'm not telling you that you need to have a Ferrari, Bugatti, six-pack abs, $1 billion in the bank account. I'm not telling you what your success metrics or goals need to be. So I'm not asking you to compare yourself to social media and just somebody's subjective standard of what successful is. I'm asking you, based upon your personal standards of what you truly want in life. Do you feel like you're winning? Do you feel like you're making progress? Do you feel fulfilled and happy with yourself? If the answer is no, and yet you're doing personal development and self-help, etc., and you've been doing it for a while, where's the disconnect? The disconnect, my friend, is in the fact that you're not understanding how limiting beliefs hold you back and how your true self-identity is what governs everything. Everything in a man's life is downstream from his self-identity. And so another way of saying that is what Hawkins said. Your subconscious will never allow you to have what you don't think you don't deserve, which is what lottery winners do and yo-yo dieters do who are part of fitness little challenges. And so if you have a couple of wires disconnected within your self-identity and they're short-circuiting, you're just going to turn personal development and self-help into smart slavery and be proverbially one of the children of Israel from the Bible circling in the desert for 40 years. You're not in what looks like slavery, aka Egypt, but you're not in the promised land. You're on the grind in the desert. My guy, doesn't take 40 years. Can take you 4 weeks to 4 months to get a massive breakthrough. So really lock into self-identity work. All right. Some resources I would point you to in no particular order, but I would highly encourage you to read and reread, study, and implement all of these. Letting Go by Hawkins, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maltz, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dispenza. That's a great 3-pack of books that I keep rereading for years now because, every time you read them with new experiences, you're a new man, you have new insights. And then the books by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, the book, Be Your Future Self Now, I think is what it's called, is a great starter primer pack on just self-identity and creating your future self in general. Those are easily available, super affordable resources that you can go order from Amazon now. And otherwise than that, find content and resources and material about self-identity work. All right? Because when I coach men and work with men, that is where I start everything. Yes, you give me your goal. Yes, you give me your objectives. Yes, you give me the circumstances you're in and what you've been dealing with. Now, as we take action to implement on getting to the goal, the only way you're actually going to get there quickly and then stay there without losing it, transforming your self-identity. That's the key, my friends.